American Express is most well known for its luxury, high-tier credit cards that have a bunch of travel benefits, but American Express is so much more than just the standard American Express Platinum or American Express Gold that you're probably familiar with. And so in this video, I'm going to rank every single personal American Express credit card from best to worst so that you are informed and you know the best American Express credit cards that you should be getting. Okay, before I get into each individual American Express credit card, let me briefly discuss how I'm going to rank these cards in the first place. I'm going to have a very similar ranking system to the rankings that I did on my hotel credit card video that I uploaded a couple months ago. And that ranking system is going to consist of 6 different tiers, which is going to range from S tier at the best to dumpster tier at the worst. And so overall, those 6 tiers are going to be broken down with S tier being the absolute best, A tier being extremely good, B tier is above average, C tier is average, D tier is below average, and dumpster tier is absolutely horrible. Okay, now let's get into the first American Express credit card and let's discuss the Amex Everyday Card. The American Express Everyday Card has a $0 annual fee, and then you're able to get point multipliers of 2x back at supermarkets up to the first $6,000 spent, and then 1x back on everything else. But then you are able to get a 20% points boost if you use this card for 20 transactions or more in one billing cycle. Plus, you can transfer all of the points that you're earning on the Amex Everyday Card out to American Express's travel partners. So I'm going to put this card in the D tier, which might seem a little bit low for some of you. But even though this card does not have an annual fee, so doesn't have a downside, there's also not really anything that special about this card as well. If you want to take your point earning categories to the next level, then the next card I'm going to discuss is the American Express Everyday Preferred card. The American Express Everyday Preferred does have a $95 annual fee, but the point multipliers are a lot better since you'll get 3x back at US grocery stores up to the first $6,000 spent, 2x back at gas stations, and 1x back on everything else. But you will also get a 50% boost when you make 50 or more transactions in one billing period, which makes those point multipliers become 4.5x back at US grocery stores, 3x back at gas stations, and 2x back on everything else. I'm going to rank the American Express Everyday Preferred card in the D tier, because even though the 50% boost can make this card beat the American Express Gold for some of you, it does have a relatively small spending cap of $6,000 for US grocery stores, and the fact that this card has a $95 annual fee but no credits to offset that is a bit of a turnoff for me. Next up, let's get into some of those core American Express credit cards that you are probably used to seeing. And let's start with the American Express Green Card. The American Express Green Card does have a $150 annual fee, but this card is actually one of the best American Express point earners since you'll get valuable point multipliers like 3x back in the general travel category, 3x back on transit, and 3x back on restaurants worldwide. Especially if you travel frequently, that 3x back on general travel category for the Amex Gold I think is really underrated and rivals the 3x category on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. But again, the Amex Green Card only has an annual fee of $150. Additionally, if you don't have a way to get clear access on one of your other credit cards, then you can get a $189 Clear Plus credit, which if it's useful for you, can completely wipe out the annual fee. Ultimately, I'm going to put the Amex Green Card in the B tier because those point earning multipliers are really underrated, but where you personally put this card is probably going to depend on how much value that you would get out of that clear credit. Next up, we have the American Express Blue Cash Everyday Card, which has a $0 annual fee. The Amex Blue Cash Everyday Card gets really strong point multipliers of 3x back at US grocery stores on up to $6,000 spent, 3x back for US online retail purchases on up to $6,000 spent, 3x back at US gas stations on up to that same $6,000 spent, and then 1x back on everything else. In addition to those already solid point multipliers, especially for a no annual fee credit card, the Amex Blue Cash Everyday is going to give you an $84 Disney bundle credit and a $180 Home Chef credit, which is over $250 from those credits, again from a card that doesn't even have an annual fee. The main downside with the Blue Cash Everyday is that it's going to be more of a cashback credit card, so you won't have additional travel upside and the ability to utilize American Express's travel partners, so I'm going to put this card in the B tier. Okay, the next card that I'm going to discuss is going to be the American Express Blue Cash Preferred, and I'm going to try to put my own bias aside because I am someone that's on team travel, but the Amex Blue Cash Preferred is one of the best cashback credit cards that you can possibly get. The Amex Blue Cash Preferred does have an annual fee of $95, but this only takes effect in year 2 because you will have an introductory period of a $0 annual fee during your first year. Part of the reason that the Amex Blue Cash Preferred is one of the best cashback credit cards that you can possibly get is going to be because of the point multipliers. Since you'll get point multipliers of 6x back at US grocery stores up to $6,000 spent per year, 6x back on US streaming subscriptions, 3x back on all transit purchases, and then 3x back at US gas stations. Additionally, just like with the Blue Cash Everyday, you're going to get an $84 Disney bundle credit. And so overall, even though I am someone who prioritizes the travel side of things, I'm going to put the Amex Blue Cash Preferred in the A tier because of the outsized value that you'll get during year 1 and into year 2 if you want to, with a $0 annual fee during your first year, a $250 statement credit from the welcome bonus, and then, of course, a very real possibility to rack up a significant amount of cash back from your grocery purchases. And then what you could do is you could downgrade this card to the $0 annual fee Amex Blue Cash Everyday. And so the Blue Cash Preferred is a fantastic way to get a significant amount of value during year 1 and into year 2 if you want to, and then also have that downgrade path to a no annual fee credit card. Next up, we have the infamous American Express Gold Card that a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with. The Amex Gold Card has a $250 annual fee with a public welcome bonus offer of being able to receive 60,000 American Express points when you spend $6,000 or more in the first 6 months. However, the reason that so many people have a love-hate relationship with the American Express Gold Card is going to primarily come from the credits, since you will get a $120 dining credit and a $120 Uber credit, but those are both going to be split up into $10 monthly increments. So technically, if you're able to maximize those credits, then you can lower your effective fee down from $250 to just $10. But I say that with a huge caveat because for a lot of people, they don't really like the credits because they make them spend more money than they otherwise would have, which in turn is not going to actually lower your effective fee at all. Still though, if you're like me and you can organically use those dining and Uber credits every single month, then you are basically paying a $10 effective fee for the gold card that gets fantastic point multipliers of 4x back on restaurants worldwide, 4x back at US grocery stores, and 3x back on flights. So with that said, I'm going to put the Amex Gold in the A tier, but I know this is going to be somewhat of a controversial card, and it will probably have a pretty wide range just depending on how much value that you're personally able to get. Next up, we have probably the most well-known and most popular American Express credit card, which is the American Express Platinum. The Amex Platinum does have an annual fee of $695, but this card is also frequently referred to as the ultimate luxury travel card. However, the American Express Platinum has been somewhat controversial recently, partly due to some of the negative changes that American Express has been making, but also because the Amex Platinum is seen as somewhat of a coupon book where you have to utilize a bunch of different credits in order to actually get any sort of positive value out of the card. And a lot of those credits are split up into different increments, which makes it hard to get the full value. I definitely do understand where some people come from on this, and you definitely want to make sure that you're organically able to use at least some of the credits. But the Amex Platinum is considered the ultimate luxury travel card for a reason, and so some of those credits can actually be really valuable, such as the $200 hotel credit, the $200 airline fee credit, $240 digital entertainment credit, $200 Uber credit, and $189 Clear Plus credit. I'm not going to cover absolutely everything in this video because yes, there are a bunch of other credits on the Amex Platinum that you can also get value from. But maybe most importantly, the American Express Platinum also gives you access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection, which gives you access to Centurion lounges throughout the world. And there actually is a Centurion lounge at my home airport here in Seattle, which is a huge reason that I plan to get the Amex Platinum sometime in 2024. Ultimately, the Amex Platinum is going to be my first S-tier card, but that is with the caveat that you are able to maximize lounge access and organically use most of the credits. Now, before we get into American Express's co-branded hotel credit cards, let's first discuss the Amex Cash Magnet card. This is a pretty standard card, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but basically it's a balance transfer card that does give you a $200 statement credit as part of the welcome bonus and 1.5x back on all purchases. So this card's about average. I'm going to put it in the C tier. Now I'm going to get into American Express's hotel cards, but before I do that, if any of the credit cards that I talk about in this video do pique your interest, then I do have links to all of these cards down in the description of this video. And checking out those links is going to allow you to get a lot of the same welcome bonuses, and it's going to be a free and easy way to help support my channel. So I would really appreciate it if you would consider doing so. Okay, now let's jump into those hotel credit cards, and let's start off with the $0 annual fee Hilton Honors card. I'll be brief with this one, but basically you'll get a sizable welcome bonus, automatic Hilton Silver Elite status, and some decent point multipliers, especially at Hilton properties. So I'm going to put the no annual fee Hilton Honors card in the C tier. Next up, we have the $150 Hilton Surpass card, which is Hilton's mid-tier credit card. The Hilton Surpass did just have some major changes, which included that annual fee increase to $150. But then the Surpass card also added a $200 Hilton credit, which is pretty flexible and can include purchases at hotel restaurants or gift shops, but it is going to be split up into $50 quarterly increments. The Hilton Surpass card is going to give you automatic Hilton Gold status, which can give you benefits like space available room upgrades, and either free breakfast or a food and beverage credit. And then you are able to earn a Hilton Free Night Award if you are able to spend $15,000 or more in one calendar year, which could be a positive or a negative depending on how you look at it. Since the positive is that Hilton Free Night certificates are completely uncapped, so they can be really valuable. But then the negative is that it does kind of suck that you do have to spend a decent amount of money to actually receive that. I'm going to put the Hilton Surpass in the B tier, and I do think that your own rankings for this is going to probably be somewhat dependent on the value that you're able to get from that $200 Hilton credit. Okay, next up, we have what a lot of people believe to be the best hotel credit card, and I tend to agree, which is the Hilton Aspire. The Hilton Aspire also just had some major changes, so the annual fee was increased to $550. But even with that annual fee increase, you are still going to get significantly more value than the annual fee, since you will get a $400 Hilton Resort credit that is split up into two $200 semi-annual credits, a $200 flight credit that is split up into quarterly increments, then also a Clear Plus credit. In addition to those credits, the Hilton Aspire is also going to give you some other valuable benefits as well that can actually be even more useful. To start with, you'll get automatic Hilton Diamond status, which is the highest status that you can get with Hilton. And so Diamond status is going to give you the best possible room upgrades, as well as free breakfast or a food and beverage credit as well. Then probably the best benefit on the Hilton Aspire is you'll get an automatic free night award every single year just for having the card, which is super valuable because unlike other hotel programs, Hilton's free night certificates are completely uncapped. So you can use that to stay at some high-end, high-tier Hilton properties. I'm going to put the Hilton Aspire in the S tier because I think you can triple the fee with the amount of value that you can get from all of the benefits. Now let's get into the American Express Marriott co-branded credit cards. Next up, we have the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy, which, spoiler alert, I do not think this card is very good. The Bonvoy Bevy has a $250 annual fee, and the core benefits on this card are automatic Marriott Gold Elite status, and a free night award, but you do have to spend $15,000 to get that free night award. So I'm going to put the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy in the dumpster tier. Finally, we have the highest tier Marriott credit card, which is the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant. I've talked about this more in some other videos that I've come out with recently, talking about my hotel credit card strategy, but I've been loving Marriott more and more due to how expansive their global footprint is and how reliable that they are for international travel. With that said, the Bonvoy Brilliant does have a $650 annual fee, but it's also going to get some of the best benefits, as you'll get a $300 dining statement credit that is broken down into $25 monthly increments, but can be used worldwide, so I think most people should be able to maximize this credit. Additionally, you'll get Marriott Bonvoy Platinum Elite status and 25 Elite Night credits, which will be really useful for those of you who are Marriott loyalists and stay at Marriott properties frequently. You'll get a Priority Pass Select membership that includes unlimited access for yourself and up to 2 guests. And then probably the most useful benefit on the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant is that you'll get an automatic free night award worth up to 85,000 Marriott points, which can by itself give you more value than the annual fee if you are really able to maximize that. Like I said, I'm growing more fond of the Marriott program, and the Bonvoy Brilliant definitely has a lot of value, so I'm going to put this card in the A tier. Okay, finally, I'm going to discuss American Express's co-branded airline cards, which are the Delta cards. American Express actually just made some major changes to the Delta credit card lineup, which included increasing annual fees and adding additional benefits. And overall, these cards are going to be a little bit more difficult to objectively rank, because a lot of the ranking really depends on how much you're a Delta loyalist or how much you actually are able to fly with Delta Airlines. But if we start with the Delta SkyMiles Blue card, this card is pretty straightforward. It has a $0 annual fee. However, you don't really get much at all in terms of benefits, so I'm going to put it in the D tier. Next, we have the Delta SkyMiles Gold card, which has a $150 annual fee, but it does have a grace period of getting a $0 annual fee during your first year. The SkyMiles Gold card gets you point multipliers of 2x back on Delta purchases at restaurants and at US grocery stores, and then 1x back on everything else. You will get a $200 Delta flight credit, but you do have to spend $15,000 to actually receive that. So most people are probably not going to put that much spend on that card because it's simply just not going to be worth it to do so in most cases. Beyond the flight credit, you are also going to get benefits like a $100 Delta Stays credit that can start to make a dent in that annual fee. Your first check bag free, and then take off 15, which allows you to get 15% off an award flight that you book with your Delta miles. So for this video, I'm going to put the Delta SkyMiles Gold card in the C tier because it's not that great of a card, but it does have that $0 introductory annual fee, and you are able to downgrade the Delta Gold card to the $0 annual fee Delta Blue card. Next up, we got the Delta SkyMiles Platinum card, which now has an annual fee of $350. The point multipliers on the Delta Platinum will be a bit better, since you'll get point multipliers of 3x back on Delta and hotel purchases, 2x back on restaurants and US grocery stores, and then 1x on everything else. The Delta Platinum is going to have some similarities to the Delta Gold, so you'll also get your first check bag free. That same takeoff 15 benefit when you book Delta flights with miles, and then you'll also get a Delta Stays credit, but it will be a little bit higher at $250. The Delta Platinum is going to get you some other benefits as well, so you'll get a $120 Resi credit and a $120 rideshare credit. But in my opinion, the best benefit on the Delta Platinum is the companion certificate that was just recently enhanced and now allows you to use that towards flights to the Caribbean, Central America, or Hawaii. In my opinion, I do think the Delta Platinum card is the best Delta credit card, so I'm going to put it in the B tier. Finally, we have the highest tier Delta credit card, which is the Delta Reserve that has an annual fee of $650. The Delta Reserve does have some similar benefits to the Delta Platinum, so you'll get similar point multipliers, the takeoff 15 benefit, a medallion, qualification boost, and head start, those credits for both Resi, rideshare, and Delta stays, and an enhanced companion certificate as well. But on the Delta Reserve, you can use that for higher fare seats like in first class. The Delta Reserve is also going to give you complimentary access to Delta Sky Clubs. However, that is changing in February 2025 with Delta Sky Club visits being limited to 15. So I'm going to put the Delta Reserve in the C tier because I do see the value if you are a strong Delta loyalist, but other than that, it's definitely not worth it considering the extremely high annual fee. But okay, so those are all my rankings for every single personal American Express credit card. I know everyone is going to have different opinions on how they would have ranked certain cards, and maybe certain cards just give you more value based on what your situation looks like. But let me know down in the comments what your thoughts were on all of my rankings and what you would have changed. Also, if you want to see a full breakdown where I ranked every single hotel credit card, then watch this video next. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.